All right, everyone. For those of you who are new to the community or you've been hiding under a rock, my new book, Design the Man Within, is out. And yes, it is available for purchase. I created this for the everyday man, the man who is the backbone to society, who puts in the long hours and the hard work and knows that there is something that is better for him out there in this world, but feels like it's not attainable to him because the fact that he doesn't have the quote unquote time to put into a lot of this development that goes on for other people. Well, I created this book for him. This is an easy way for you to get that development. It's an easy way for you to start putting time into yourself. And there are tools in here that I've used in my life so that I could improve who I was. And yes, I know where you come from because I was that blue collar guy. I still work hard and I did that growing up my whole life. And I came from a family of blue collar workers, and I pride myself on understanding the mindsets that we go through as people who grow up from that paycheck to paycheck life. The people who are just doing the best effort they can to put a roof over their family's head and to put food on the table. I understand the mindset, but understand now yourself that we can do more to benefit our own relationships with ourselves and with our families. This book is what I created because I wanted this to be addressed. It's the book I needed 6 years ago, and it's the book I hope you need today. So make sure you click the link below and go to designthemanwithin.com. Get your copy today so that you can start reading Design the Man Within. You can start getting the tools and you can start implementing them into your lives so you no longer have to suffer and struggle the way you have been. Make sure you guys go get Design the Man Within at designthemanwithin.com and join everybody else who's already ordered this book. Thanks.
Hey everyone, welcome back to YouTube. We are in November, and as you guys hopefully are aware, this is National Men's Health Awareness Month. It's one of the things that we should be taking seriously as humans in general. Men's mental health, but also health in general, isn't necessarily prioritized. Men are looked at as expendable. That's been since the dawn of time. As societies, we can get into that. But at the end of the day, men have not been looked at as needing the help and support that we do. And so, today we look at suicide rates, and it's 3 out of every 4 suicides are committed by men. It is the leading cause of death in men 35 and under. And it is every 20 in 100,000 men in the age group of, I believe it's 45 to 64, commit suicide every year. And it is something that is growing in nature, and it's something that we have the ability to help prevent. And one of the ways that we can do that ourselves is to reach out to men, to ask them how they're doing, especially those who are familiar with us in our lives, easily to reach out and just be like, hey, how's everything going? And ask them seriously how everything's going. And when they're like, oh, fine, like everything's good, be like, okay, but how are you emotionally? How are you relationally? How are you in your really deep down? How are you doing? Give them the opportunity to open up with those questions. That's incredibly important. But we're also talking about national health awareness for men. It's not just mental health, it's also physical health. And those two things tend to go hand in hand. So if you are unaware, the amount of chemicals that are released internally, biologically, when we work out, the positive release of hormones helps us to have a better mindset, to move out of sadness and depression faster, and to be in a state of, confidence and happiness. So make sure that if you aren't in the best shape, you start looking at how to get there. And this doesn't mean you have to look like me or go find one of these highly aggressive coaches that really want to, shred you up. You don't necessarily need to do all of those things. What I'm asking you guys to do is just the simple fact of, including some form of physical movement, physical training in your week. Maybe even it's just a few times a week, but couple that with some better eating, and it's going to really help you emotionally, but it's also going to really help you psychologically as well. And then obviously physically, you're going to see a lot of the benefits of that. If you can just simply include some of those things, they're really tactical ways of improving your life in general. So as we are in the National Men's Health Awareness Month, that is one of the things we need to remember, is that it couples with mental health, mental wellness. Physical wellness couples with mental wellness. It's one of those things that it can really, really, when you partner that with your own internal development, you can really see strides and improvements. You can really see strides in how you view the world, perception, and judgments. So that is one of the things I want to stress. The other thing is, make sure that you're reaching out. It's not always on you, but you're the one that knows that you're struggling. And if you feel like you're alone, I can promise you you're not. One of the things I've learned over the years of being a men's coach, one of the things I've learned over the years of my own struggles, is that when we feel like we're alone, the biggest thing is that we actually aren't. There's so many other men struggling with the same things. And I say that because it can be one of the darkest places to be struggling and think you're the only one going through it. Now, while there's almost 8 billion people on this planet, and it's easy to think that somebody else is going through the same exact thing we're going through, we forget that. We forget that people around us, even directly in our own lives, are experiencing the same thing that we're going through. And I've heard it more than once in these men's groups that I've been part of, in the men's groups I've led, in the coaching that I've had, that men actually, with some of the deepest, darkest things they feel they could be doing or experiencing, there's another man, high likelihood, in their life that is having the same thing. So just know that you're not alone. I cannot stress that enough. That was my darkest moments, were when I thought I was alone in my struggles, and you're not. At the same time, if you feel like you are alone, if you feel like you're really struggling, please reach out to somebody, whether it's a close friend, it could be a woman or a man, like, it doesn't matter. Somebody that understands you, somebody that is not going to have judgment for you, somebody that you feel connected to and you trust. Reach out to that person and just share with them what's going on. Give them the opportunity to be there for you, because the high likelihood is, if you trust that person and you care about them enough to open up, the high likelihood is they want to be there for you, and they're going to be able to deliver that support for you, and you'll be able to feel seen and heard and understood. And at the end of the day, that is what we all want as human beings, is to feel seen, understood, and heard. So please make sure that if you are struggling, reach out to somebody that you know. And for everybody listening right now, again, man or woman, have you reached out to men in your life? Have you reached out to those you care about? Have you reached out to friends or family members just to check in on them and just ask how they're really doing? Give them the opportunity to say something to you. As I mentioned before, give them that opportunity and let them know you're there for them. They don't even have to be struggling, or they don't have to show any visible signs of struggling. I think that's one of the biggest things too with men, is we don't tend to show a lot of visible signs of struggling. We're very, very good at harboring our pain internally, especially when it's psychological pain. We're very good at protecting that. It's been ingrained in us since we were young boys. And so we do protect that very, very well. But, allow yourself to be vulnerable and open up the question of how they're actually doing, and give them the opportunity to respond to that. Give them the opportunity to say, man, I know everything looks great, but I am really struggling. This is happening internally. I don't know how I'm going to survive. I lost my job, or like, hey, I'm not making that much money, and I've accrued way too much debt. Whatever it is, there's a lot of things that men struggle with, but there are much darker things. And hopefully, if you give them the opportunity and they trust you, they're going to feel inclined to open up about whatever it is. These are important things, guys. The statistics are not getting any better for men in suicide, and there's so many undiagnosed mental health issues for men that are going unnoticed because of the fact that men don't speak up. And we, as their friends and family, can be there for them. We as coaches can be there for them as well. And so for anybody that is struggling, please make sure that if you resonate with my message, you resonate with me. It's not all about money, guys. If you know anything about my content, I've been doing this for years, and I can first and foremost tell you it's not for the money. It is for the fact that this has helped so many men that I truly want to be there for you guys. And if I do resonate with you and you feel connected to me and you feel open to reach out to me, please do so, because if I can help you, I will absolutely do that. I can ask you questions. I can make sure that, I'm giving you the opportunity to open up and hold that space for you. And I would love that opportunity to do it. It is not, again, not about the money. It's about me just helping you, especially if you're in a very dark place. So make sure you're reaching out to me. And if there's somebody else that you're reaching out to in the men's development space, or a coach out there, just reach out to them too. Majority of the men, at least I know, in the men's development space are really truly here in a heart-centered mentality, and they want to support you. So ultimately, there are a lot of avenues to do it. And at the end of the day, if you have the money and you have the opportunity, therapy is always a good route as well. There's no reason to be scared of therapy. It is an outlet for you to release that negative energy, to release the toxic mindset that you're carrying, and allow you to unburden yourself through somebody who can hold that space for you and ask the right questions. That is always an option. Be open to any and all of these modalities, because, as I said, people are not super great at recognizing if there are things, and men are super good at protecting if there are issues. And so if you can take the step forward and let somebody know that you're not doing okay, it gives them the opportunity to meet you halfway. I'll give you guys a little bit of a story here on the importance of a small act for somebody. And that is, a good friend of mine runs the nonprofit Ranger Road, which supports veterans out there. Specifically, it really helps a lot of veterans who are struggling with PTSD, who are struggling with amputations due to combat, and just helps, veterans in general if they need anything. And one of the stories my good friend who runs that told me years ago, when he kind of first started it, was that he opened up this event called the Freedom Jump. And the Freedom Jump it's a really cool thing. A lot of times they're pairing up a amputee or multiple amputee with a jumper, and they get to jump out of an airplane and have a lot of fun. And it's a whole event around this. Helping veterans. Well, a kid came out there and he was standing next to my buddy's wife. Now, men from our background, when we're not there to protect our wives, like somebody we don't know being next to them, especially another man, kind of cues us off to be uncomfortable. Understandable. So Venikov's uncomfortable a little bit, but he sees him, doesn't worry about it, gets on with the event, runs the event. He lands and looks over, and his wife's alone. The guy's not there. And he's, not thinking anything of it. Well, the next day he gets an email from this kid, and he says, "Hey, Venikov, I want to just let you know, I want to thank you for what you do, what Ranger Road has brought to a lot of other veterans and to a lot of people. And, I met your wife. She was really nice. It was great to see all the event and everything that happened." And so what he went on to say was, that day I had a rope hanging in my garage, and it was either I was going to hang myself or I was going to go to your Freedom Jump. And so I decided to go to your Freedom Jump. And what you showed inspired me and really made me feel good about the people in this world that are really trying to help. And so he went home and he said he took down the rope, and then he also, got into finding God himself and really just finding the power to keep going in life. And so this small event that, Venikov could have looked at as kind of insignificant to helping somebody at that capacity, helped somebody who wasn't even necessarily participating in it. It was a small gesture that really impacted this kid's life and allowed him to see something better for himself, and that, taking his own life was not the way to go. So I say all of that because the small gestures we can make to anybody in our life, whether we know they're struggling or not, can be the thing that saves their life. So if you guys have not done so, please make sure to reach out to a man in your life. Let them know that you're there for them. Ask them if they need anything. Ask them how they're really doing, not the bullshit answers, but how they're really doing. And give them the opportunity to help fill you in and give you the opportunity to be there for them. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please, again, remember this is Men's National Health Awareness Month. Take it seriously. Support the men in your life. We should be supporting each other every single day, men and women. But as we're highlighting this month for men, please make sure to reach out and do that if you have not done it already. All right, everybody. See you next week.